Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. I'm on a mission to get it all. Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. If you ain't thick, please don't get involved.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
What is poppin', fam? Monday morning here in Los Angeles. What is happening? Fresh off a family road trip in San Diego. Went to the Padres game. Tell you what, boy, San Diegans know how to drink. I've never seen so many hammered people at a baseball game in my entire life. It was dicey. It was dicey. It was a last-minute thing. I saw it was the opening game for the Padres for the MLB season. And my kids do like going to the game, so I'm like, let's do it. Like, yay! We beeline down there. Made it there by the second inning. Here's the thing, though, and I was talking to a bunch of people there. I'm trying to think. There's so many people that I knew that at the game, but I was like, man, there were so many fights in the bathroom. There's just people are hammered. I'm like, why is everyone so hammered? San Diego's always like this. The Padres game's always like this. I'm like, no, the game was supposed to be at 1:00 because the rain delay. They pushed it to 7. So people have been just waiting since basically noon drinking. Like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. It looked like the purge. It was fun though. It was fun. Shout out to San Diego. But thank the fight gods because you have a big ass card this Saturday. UFC 287 is finally here, and it is one hell of a card worth every bit of your hard-earned money, fam. We're also doing a special Calabasas Fight Companion. You have Brian Callen, Cheeto Vera, myself, and a very special guest who I'll announce on Thursday. But we have one hell of a crew for UFC 287 Calabasas Fight Companion live on Thick Boy YouTube Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So make sure you tune into that live. And if not, you can watch it on Sunday or Monday as it uploads to YouTube and all your audio streaming services. That is UFC 287, headlined by Alex Pereira and Izzy. The rematch there. I would say rematch in the UFC. They've fought previously twice before that in kickboxing. But, yeah, you got your rematch. The whole card, we'll get to the main event in a second. The whole card is pretty tasty. The whole entire card is tasty. You know it's a good card when you got Cynthia Calvillo on the early prelims. You have Gerald Meerschaert on there. And then your prelims for ESPN. You got Michelle Watterson, Kelvin Gaslam, Chris Curtis, and then the main card kicks off with the young buck, Raul Rosa Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. This is not a walk in the park for Rosa Jr. This is not a gimme fight. This will be by far the toughest fight of his young budding career. Rodriguez is no punk. He's no punk. And was he 8-1? Yep. Is he 8-1 or 8-0? He's 8-1.
8-1.
Oh, he lost his first fight in the UFC against Jonathan Pierce. Won his last one with an anaconda choke in the first round. And he was also unanimous decision winner on Dana White's Contender Series. So by far the toughest test for a very young 18-year-old with a long face and Rosa Jr. What, man? Just facts. Spaniard, savage. So Rosa Jr., he has work cut out for him. He's going to pass the test, though, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I bet that thing goes to decision, and I think we see what Rosa Jr. is made out of. It's a perfect test where he's at, I think, being 18 years old, kicking off a huge pay-per-view. So the UFC has high hopes for Rosa Jr., man. Really high hopes. The kid's young as hell. And he doesn't have a lot of experience, and put him right up there. He's born in 2004, which is insane. Just so insane. So to put him right up there is a big test for him. And again, this isn't going to be a cakewalk. If you're a Rosa Jr. fan, this is not a gimme fight. This is a fight where I think it goes to the judges' scorecards, and he wins 29-28. I could see 30-27. We'll see on the judges, man. Might go to a draw, some bullshit, but you never know with the judges. But Rosa Jr. has his work cut out for him. Not an easy fight, which I'm proud of him, man. Good for him. Good for the UFC for pushing the kid. Put on the main card. Second fight on the main card, you got Kevin Holland. This is a fun fight. Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Tough fight for your boy Ponzinibbio. Kevin Holland's no punk, man. Kevin Holland is absolutely no punk. I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Holland clips him and then submits this guy. And now you're dealing with a dangerous Kevin Holland, too, because he's coming off a 2-fight losing skid here. Obviously, the Hamzat loss is a tough one for him. Do we count that as a loss, though? Took it based on a 3-hour notice at a catch weight 180 pounds. That's whatever. He did the UFC a solid. That was the whole conspiracy thing at UFC 279, which we don't want to get into. And then he lost to Wonderboy Thompson. That's fight of the night. He ended up shooting in that fight, which was interesting. But you got a Kevin Holland backed in a corner. Can't lose 3 in a row. 3 in a row gets a little dicey for Kevin Holland. Ponzinibbio is a good matchup. Both kind of at a fork in the road. I'll take Kevin Holland in this fight all day with this fork in the road. And then what I think will be your, it'll be your fight of the night will be Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. Fantastic fight. I think this should have been a main event on a fight night. I would like to see these two gentlemen go 5 rounds. It's the first real test for Yanez, who I'm a huge fan of. Love Adrian Yanez. Rob Font, big fan of Rob Font as well. Adrian undefeated in the UFC. This kid is a little banshee. Fighting out of, I think, San Antonio. He's out of Texas. But, he hasn't faced any real big tests yet. And Rob Font is that test. They're trying to see where he lines up at. Rob Font coming off some tough ones. The Marlon Vera, the Cheeto fight, right? He took all the punches to the face. Jose Aldo was a tough one. And his win over Marlon Moraes, there was so much damage done that fight. You wonder how much more he can fight with that style. But he beat Marlon, then he beat Cody Garbrandt. Jose Aldo was a tough one. Then Marlon Vera was an awful fight for him with his face. So I guess this is a matter of, changing of the guards here. You got the young buck and Adrian Yanez versus the old salty dog from the New England Cartel and Rob Font. It's a big step up for Adrian Yanez, and I think he passes this test in flying colors. I think it's your fight of the night. I do think it goes to the judge's decision. So I think your Rosa Jr. wins decision, Kevin Holland via finish, submission, and Adrian Yanez via decision as well. That leads us to the co-main event, Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal. Oh boy, interesting one, right? For Gilbert Burns, his stock went through the freaking roof, right? With his Hamzat fight, through the roof, and then what he did to Neil Magny was just disrespectful in the first round in Brazil. For Gilbert Burns, with this division, they don't really know what to do. But I do think this is them rewarding Gilbert Burns because this is one of those money fights. Jorge Masvidal is one of those money fighters where it doesn't matter how many fights he's won or lost, we're always going to tune in. He just crossed over there's a few guys that cross over that. And you're talking about, a guy in Masvidal, who's lost his last 3 fights. He lost 3 fights. He's lost 5 out of his last 8. Lost Damian Maia, split decision. That one's dicey. Wonderboy Thompson. He beat Darren Till. Remember, he starts Darren Till in London, which is what kicked off the whole kind of phenom of Masvidal. Even though if you're hardcore, you've been following this guy since he was fighting with Kimbo Slice in backyards in Dade County, Miami. But the Darren Till one kicked it off. Then the Ben Askren one put him into another stratosphere with the flying knee, which is one of the greatest knockouts of all time. Fastest knockout in UFC history. Let's take a little break here. This episode of the Schaub Show is brought to you by the one, the only, the faithful On It. Listen, your boy's busy. That's by design. I like to have a lot on my plate, and my friends at On It help me maintain focus in order to function and stay in a high zone. They help me out with a little Alpha Brain. I take the black label, the highly concentrated black label Alpha Brain, promotes attention, focus. Alpha Brain helps support cognitive functions, including memory, mental speed, and focus. Yeah, I need help with all that stuff, all right? What are the benefits to Alpha Brain, you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you the benefits of Alpha Brain regular, but think of all this with a little turbo for your brain piece, all right? Aids in mental processing, caffeine-free, helps with the flow state, promotes focus, and supports memory. Alpha Brain can help you remember names and places like your girlfriend, where she lives, all sorts of phone numbers, all right? Think more clearly under stress, react more quickly. If you can't use any of that, well, I guess you don't need to try the best nootropic on planet Earth. They've sold over 1 million bottles. On It also offers fitness equipment the best of the best. Kettlebells, steel club maces, sandbags, yoga mats. You need better nutrition? Say less. Onnit has MCT oil, protein bars, protein powders. We got it all. They offer on-demand workouts. So if your thick ass needs to get in shape, you don't need to go to gym. Do it from the comfort of your living room. They have streaming fitness. All right, we got you. Go to onnit.com/Schaub. Receive 10% off everything, including Alpha Brain Black, Alpha Brain Instant, Alpha Brain Focus Shot, regular Alpha Brain. We got it all. Workout gear, workout streaming fitness. You save 10% off everything. Go to onnit.com/Schaub for 10% off. All right, fam, this next one, I only recommend products that I actually use, and this next product is one I actually use. I reached out to them to be part of the program. I'm talking about my friends at Happy Hippo. It's the best kratom on the planet. It's the only kratom that I trust. All right, I use it when I'm on stage, when I'm doing podcasts, when I'm chilling, whatever I'm looking for. Your boy's on that kratom, but not just from anybody, from Happy Hippo. I use the shot. I always have it here. I use the sour apple, the butterscotch. I prefer these days right now. But if you don't like shots, they have gummies, they have powders, they got it all. And you missed out because last week they had their 10-year anniversary. They were giving 30% off. Now it's back to 20% off. All right. If you want to try the best kratom, the My Hidden Gem, My Limitless Pill, you got to go to happyhippo.com. Promo code is THICC23. You get 20% off for life. All right. Send that to a friend, family, coworkers, whoever you want to try kratom that you can actually trust, that actually works in whatever form you use it in, whether it's a shot, whether it's the gummies, whether it's a powder. I got you covered. Go to happyhippo.com. Promo code is THICC with 3 C's, THICCC 23 for 20% off. Now let's get back to the program. And then the Nate Diaz stoppage, he actually absolutely beat the brakes off Nate Diaz and won the BMF title. And then after that, he got dicey for him. Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington. And it'd be tough to give him a single round in any of those fights. You know, so 5 out of his last 8, 3-fight losing skid, and you get Gilbert Burns, who's coming off, a big win, and then obviously a moral victory and a fan victory over Hamzat. So it is a tough one for Jorge Masvidal. I want to say he's a 5-1 dog, but he's the money fight, and because he's the dog, you never count Jorge Masvidal out. What worries me a little bit is Jorge, he's plus 390 right now. Gilbert Burns is minus 490, which is insanely huge difference. With Jorge Masvidal, because he is, he's always been an underdog his entire career. He's always just this dog that you can't count out. But what does alarm me a little bit as a huge Jorge Masvidal fan is he said this in the news recently, I think just a day or two ago. Maybe it was the press conference for his big boxing fight over the weekend, the Game Bred Fighting. He said, if I lose this fight, I'm done. I'm retiring. It's like, ooh, it's never good. So that means you got 1 foot out the door. Gilbert Burns has 2 feet all the way, balls deep in the UFC fighting game. So for Jorge Masvidal, he's had a great run, man. But when I hear him say, if I lose, I'm out, it's like, fuck. That's trouble. That's trouble fighting a guy against Gilbert Burns. I hope Jorge gets it done, man. I love Gilbert too, but I'm just a huge Jorge fan. So this is a tough one for him. But Jorge's that guy. You don't care wins or losses. He should be. He's a big fight card guy, and so they gave it to him in the co-main event. But we'll see how many of these left. Especially if he loses, he's talking about retiring. I never like that when a fighter talks about retiring. Say that after the fight. Don't tell us where your mind's at going into a huge co-main event on UFC 287. That's trouble. It always leads to trouble. The main event is another barn burner, huh? Alex Pereira, Izzy, Adesanya. Izzy's the best middleweight we've ever seen, but the one guy that has his number, he's his Achilles heel, is a guy named Alex Pereira who also beat him in kickboxing as well. So Izzy's never beat him, huh? Izzy's never beat him. What's tough here is, I think if we weren't so, I don't want to say in love, but we're definitely big fans of Izzy here at the Thick Boys Studios. We love Izzy. And if someone, let's say you didn't know Izzy, you didn't know Alex, and said, hey, who do you think is going to win? This guy's lost literally every time he's fought him, but he's favored to win this 4th fight that they're going to go into. Who would you bet on? I'm like, yeah, the guy beat him every time? He's an underdog? Probably going to take the underdog. That's insane. So it's tough to tell because I'm so biased towards Izzy. He's a minus 140. So I was thinking, how'd they come up with this minus 140? Well, again, to kind of ride on Izzy's nuts here, if you look at the fights, I know he lost, but if he didn't get clipped, if he didn't get finished, he wins those fights. He's won more rounds. He's had more rounds won than Alex Pereira when they fought. You know, these gentlemen have spent numerous times inside a ring and octagon, and for the majority of the time that they've spent inside a ring or cage, Izzy's winning. Izzy's winning, and then Alex Pereira, who could probably fight at heavyweight, connects with that Brazilian bomb, and the fight's over. So if you're a betting man, which I am, if you're a betting man, do you think Izzy, who's been unsuccessful at doing this for, 3 fights now, especially in the last one, well, in MMA, he's been unsuccessful, so he's 0-1. Do you think that Izzy can do what he's been doing and not get clipped? History would say no. How do you guys feel? What do you think, Chin?
I told you that as much as I want Stylebender to win, I think it's going to be so beautiful if he wins, because the whole mental thing, to be beaten by someone that many times, right? And to finally like conquer him. And you were doing really well, but then obviously there's something in the mental thing, I think, somewhere with Izzy.
I don't know. It's mental. I just think Alex Pereira hits so goddamn hard.
You're right.
But even later in the rounds, the guy just hits like a fucking truck.
Absolutely. But for me, when I look at it, that's how I feel. I feel like there's some sort of mental block. Yeah. But if he's able to conquer that and get over and actually beat Pereira on this particular fight, it would be such a beautiful, amazing thing. But as much as I love Izzy, if I had to bet my my life savings on something,
yeah,
I would have to just bet with Poatan.
Alex,
because,
you're a piece of shit.
I know. I don't want to. I'm rooting for Izzy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, who's not, man? You know.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing.
No, I think Izzy's gonna do it.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I think if there were 10 more seconds in that first,
He wins.
Of course, but that's not how the game is played.
That's not how it goes, is it? I know. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Izzy. Here's what's interesting is, let's say Izzy wins. So it's 1-1 in the UFC. Do you run it back?
You can't, right?
I don't think this is it, dude.
Yeah.
Because the division, we got to move on. We got to move on. We have to move on. You know? Man. You just have to. You have to move on. Here's where it gets interesting is, again, as much as we love Izzy here, if, let's say, Izzy or Alex wins this fight, your next fight's going to be against Khamzat. I'm listening. Name which one of those two gentlemen beat Khamzat.
It'll be so tough. Super tough. I don't know.
Now, depending on how this fight goes, I think Khamzat's scheduled to get a fight at middleweight. So they're going to toss him maybe a Whitaker or something like that, or a Vettori, maybe a Jared Cannonier. Either way, you gotta let. I don't think you can go straight from Khamzat, who's never competed for a title, even at 170 where he started, and then he's never fought at middleweight at a high level, and just toss him in the main event for a title shot. I think you gotta have him beat a Whitaker to earn his keep. So the rest of the division's like, okay, this guy's the real deal. Because if you give him Robert Whitaker and he mops the floor, listen, Robert Whitaker would give Pereira or Izzy all they can handle. Don't get it twisted. Robert Whitaker is a motherfucker. So you would have to have a Khamzat fight a Robert Whitaker, show the division, show the fan base that he can be this straight savage at 85, and then he'd fight the winner of Alex and Izzy. But based off that, and I do think Robert Whitaker's a tougher matchup for Khamzat than Alex Pereira or Izzy, by the way. So if he gets by that, it's going to be tough. Khamzat can be reigning champ for quite some time. Point is the winner of Saturday's fight, in all likelihood, your prize is fighting Khamzat at 85, and you're going to find out how good he is. So I don't. Again, the reason we went down this weird rabbit hole is you can't do a third fight. Even if it's 1-1, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Unless it's a judge's decision, it's like super controversial and it's not really a clear winner, Because the thought process there is the first time they fought, Izzy won the majority of the rounds, got clipped.
He was winning the entire
fight, winning the majority of the rounds. So you're like, all right, Izzy got it, but he got clipped. They run it this time. Let's say Izzy TKOs him. You'd be like, well, he won the first fight until he got clipped. He dominated him this time. Nobody's really asking for a third time. I don't see this happening, no matter what happens. Now, obviously, you're definitely not going to do the rematch if Alex wins, because then he's 2-0. It makes no sense. But even if Izzy wins this, I think it's the last time you see it. I really do.
And there was that little, it's not controversy, but, Izzy was still standing up when the referee stopped the fight. So Izzy even said, I was moving my head and I was still in there. Yeah. So it was kind of like somewhat a slight.
They want to see him go out on a shield, I guess, which I'm not mad at that stoppage, but yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. But again, oh, cool, you won. Unless Alex goes up to heavyweight, or I'm sorry, light heavyweight.
He could do both, I think.
No, easily. That wasn't like a blunder there. I thought he might as well go to heavyweight. He's so big.
So huge, yeah.
He started cutting weight last December.
And gains it all
There's just
back.
picture him just cutting weight at all hours of the day. That poor guy. What he's doing to his body. I wouldn't be surprised his last fight at middleweight. Yeah, because then they're going to be like, all right, here's Hamzat. Enjoy that, you two. Oh, neither one of you can really wrestle? Hilarious. Here's Hamzat. It's just, he's a nightmare for them. Nightmare.
It'd be cool to see Hamzat standing next to Stylebender or Alex Pereira, just see how like the difference in sizes at middleweight.
Oh, dude. Yeah, if whoever wins. Hamzat, Izzy would be my dream fight for this year. Alex Pereira, Hamzat, dream fight for this year. That'd be phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal. That middleweight division needs it, man. Again, it's the change in the guards right now. There's a lot of old heads in there. And it's getting chunky at the top there. But yeah, I'm excited for this whole fight card. So let me give you my picks. I'm gonna go Rosa Jr. via decision, Kevin Holland via submission, but I think he clips him and then submits him with a rear naked choke or Darce. Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. I'll take Adrian Yanez majority decision. That's your fight of the night. Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal. Do I have to pick? I mean,
says Casey.
Listen, if you take my bias out of it, my relationship with those two guys, there's a reason Gilbert Burns is damn near 5-1 favorite there. Jorge's lost the last 3 fights. Jorge's talking about retiring. I would have picked Jorge if he didn't mention before we even get into fight week that this is his last fight. If he loses, that's a huge red flag to me. So I'll take Gilbert Burns. But you guys are going to be surprised about the output of Jorge Masvidal and the heart that Jorge Masvidal has. This isn't going to be a one-sided thing where he just gets his ass beat. And then Alex Pereira, Izzy. I'll take Izzy via decision.
Cool. Are you betting on this fight at all?
Oh, yeah.
You are?
Yeah. Oh, me and Callan got like 5 G's on Alex and Izzy. I'm going to shake that old man down, too. I mean, yeah, it's a close. I bet I could get Brian to bet on the Rob Font, Adrian Yanez fight. He doesn't know who either of those men are. I bet I could get him. Or I bet you I could get Brian, he doesn't know odds, to bet on Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal. But we'll definitely do we already made the bet. I think we made it on the fight campaign with Rogan last time. I mean, it's a good bet, right? It's like such a toss-up. When the fights are that close, it's fun.
And Brian does love boxing a lot, right? So I figure he might pick Adrian, but he doesn't know much, I'm guessing, about
he's never heard of him.
Yeah, probably not.
I hope no. I'll bring him up. Fine kid. I'll go. Jim, bring him up.
Yeah, it's kind of, he knows a lot of fighters, but some he just doesn't have any.
Listen, if you're not in it, I get it. It's tough to keep up. Like Rampage too. Oh, how about whoever? Name somebody who's not like a huge market. I'm like, I have no clue who you're talking about. He just doesn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
What else you got, dude?
Do you want to cover any of the fights that happened over this past weekend?
I mean, you had thick on thick crime. Anthony Pettis, Roy Jones Jr. A couple thickies going at it.
Here's a picture of them real quick. Roy is looking super thick, but yeah, Pettis was like 200 pounds or something like that.
Dude, I think it was Chuck Mendenhall said this. This is an insane stat. Think about this. Roy Jones Jr. in 1993, when UFC 1 came to Denver, Colorado, Roy Jones Jr. was 24-0 as a pro boxer. UFC 1, Roy Jones Jr. is 24-0. 2023, he's the main event against Anthony Pettis. It's just, I mean, for Pettis, a huge feather in your cap to beat Roy Jones Jr. If I beat Roy Jones, I just wouldn't have. I would have only his vintage pictures in my house. I would not have that weigh-in picture. My kids like, you beat Roy Jones? I'm like, sure did. And then as kids get older, they just don't know what year it is. But you just have like vintage Roy Jones highlights playing.
You're like, you beat this guy.
Yeah, I beat him. Yeah, first boxing match I beat. They're like, holy shit! I'm like, yeah, big deal. Look it up. Nah. So shout out to Anthony Pettis. He's 1-0. I do see a little bit like you'll see how like. I think Jeremy Stevens, Jose Aldo, I don't hear if Pettis or not, but they're calling out, Conor, or they're looking for those big money fights. If you're a Jake Paul fan, you like this, I hate to say it, almost feeder league to this entertainment boxing revenue. It's like this is just feeding more superstars for Jake Paul and Logan Paul and the KSIs of the world to fight, because this is who they should be fighting. They shouldn't be fighting real Well, I don't know why they want to play in the real boxing game. That's a terrible idea. But here, like you're telling me you want to watch Jake Paul, Anthony Pettis? Now I'm not saying that I'm in love with it. What I'm saying is there's a huge lane for it, and I don't hate on it. Good for them, and get yours. For Anthony Pettis to have the Hall of Fame career he had in the UFC, go over to the PFL, the Showtime kick over Ben Henderson. He was on a Wheaties box. Great dude, too. Great fucking dude. And then to have that career, and then now he's making tons of money fighting Roy Jones Jr. could fight a Jake Paul. Yeah, dude, get yours, man. And I'll watch. I'll pay for it, too. I'm not shutting the family down. Hey, we're ordering pizza and watching this every weekend if it's every week. But once every 3 months, every 4 months, I'm in, dude. There's a lane for it. But all this is, like when I see this stuff, like the Game Bread stuff, what he's doing, I love that Jorge's doing this. Jorge has his tequila, he has his fight league, his promotional league. He's doing a lot of cool shit, man, outside that octagon. I celebrate all of it, man. We should all support each other, right? So I love all that stuff. But what I see here is I'm like, oh, this is kind of a feeder league to get to those big boys. The Anthony Pettis, Conor fight in boxing. The Anthony Pettis, Logan Paul, Jake Paul fight. Especially Anthony Pettis at that weight. Yeah, you're big enough to fight Jake. You should probably have to cut some pounds. Not going to lie to you. So the Jeremy Stevens, the Jose Aldos, all that I see, I'm like, oh, this is just Jake and Logan can fight for the next 5 years at this rate. If they keep putting these guys out like this, it's good business. There's a lane for it. That's all I'm saying. There's a lane for it. Yeah, but the whole card, good for him.
Real quick on this too, though. When I bought this, so I bought it on my laptop. I tried to buy it on my TV. I have an Insignia Fire TV, like the Amazon Fire TV.
Yeah, slave legs.
No, it's cheap, dude. It's super cheap. So, but then I was like, they said that you can buy the app there. So I tried to download the app and it says unavailable. The app is unavailable. So I'm like, that sucks. So I download it on my laptop and then I try to cast it there so you can cast it to your TV, right? AirPlay. So I casted it. Everything worked. The chat room and everything except for the video wouldn't play. So then I'm like, maybe I have my system is older. So I went to my phone and my iPad. I tried every possible way and it wouldn't work. I could only watch it on my laptop.
That's a bummer.
And I couldn't fast forward. I couldn't rewind when I saw something. I couldn't pause. All that stuff. Which,
hey, bro, it's the first one. Be cool, man.
I don't know how old that pay-per-view app is, but it was for me. It was shitty. I'm wondering if other people felt the same way.
Why did I think it was on UFC Fight Pass?
It was on UFC Fight Pass too, but I don't have Fight Pass.
Oh, that's where you fucked up.
ESPN Plus. That's all I have.
Oh, but I think if you have Fight Pass, you can stream it on.
I'm not
going
to buy Fight Pass. Though.
Yeah. Because they fired me.
What?
Because they fired me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. There you go. What else you got?
So there's other fights. Real quick, we'll just touch on them. PFL, Brendan Loughnane beat Marlon Moraes, who's had it's a tough ride for him right now. Yes. He's been losing a ton of fights.
Shout out to Brendan.
Wilkinson beat Thiago Santos. And then we'll move over to this real quick. Kat's gonna, but there's a Bellator. So she won against Leah McCourt. Unanimous decision. And now her next opponent most likely should be Chris
She's
Cyborg.
Free agent though now.
Oh shit. Well, yeah. Well, likely it's going to be Chris Cyborg though.
Yeah. And then the biggest upset of the weekend,
or the biggest news,
San Diego State, in that last second shot, they're about to get their ass whooped. I hope not by UConn tonight, but that was it Joey Davis, Jay Davis. Go back to the fight card.
Oh, I
on
thought you were talking about
Bellator.
this one. Oh,
He was like a minus 3,000 or some shit. Joey Davis.
Joey Davis.
I mean, it has to be one of the biggest upsets in a hot fucking second
Isn't Bellator?
since Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul. What?
Oh, Jeff Crichton versus Joey Davis.
Yeah, Joey Davis. I mean, you're talking about wrestling legend, dude. Pedigree. Bring it. I'm telling you, he must have been minus 5,000.
So that's his NCAA.
Yeah, dude. Gold. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. Such a savage. He took some time off, and then, yeah. Oh, he's a dude. So he took a 2.5-year layoff. Made his return over the weekend, despite being ready for this, a 14-1 favorite.
Madness.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow. He'll be all right, though.
But that's the beauty of MMA, too. You never know.
Yeah.
The biggest news, I guess, basically for the MMA world is Endeavor, who owns the UFC. They're doing a deal with WWE. And then I guess they're teaming them up to create a new company that's going to be publicly traded.
Dude,
so it's going to be worth a shit
UFC,
ton.
the lines are going to get a little blurry. If you're a hardcore fan, you liked, the old UFC days, the UFC 99s and 100s, those days are gone. We're getting closer to the weird matrix where WWE and this UFC world slowly combining. They've already crossed paths a little bit. And, it makes sense because Dana White. Don't get me wrong; he deserves everything he's earned there with the UFC. But his business plan, it's not like he invented the iPhone. His business plan is the exact same as Vince McMahon's. They were the first to do it, so he's taking a page out of their book. Anything you see WWE does, the UFC does. So for Endeavor, who owns the UFC, to be like, well, why don't we buy the big dog? So the deal transaction values UFC at.
That's the crazy part, too.
Hold up here. The deal transaction values UFC at $12.1 billion, an impressive increase over $4 billion Endeavor paid for the promotion in 2016. But the WWE is valued at $9.3 billion. You're telling me UFC is more valuable than WWE?
According to this, yes.
What?
It's insane, right?
Who's doing the valuation?
I think once they do this purchase, they have to show the stats of whatever the values are. So that's when it was, that's when this news came out that it was actually valued at 12.
Here's where it gets dicey. Here's where it gets really dicey. So, explain this. In 2016, the UFC was purchased for what? $8 billion or some shit like that?
No, four.
So $4 billion, they're worth $12 billion now. So that's $8 more billion that they're worth. Have you seen a huge increase in fighter pay?
No, that's the problem.
So if I'm the fighter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I beat this dead horse so many times. If you're an agent and you have a roster of badasses and you read this news and go, the UFC's worth $8 more billion when we signed our contract 4 years ago? Hey, man, pay us more money. What leg does the UFC have to stand on? What argument do they have where they're like, we just can't? Why not? Don't want to? It's like, what's the what argument is there if you're a fighter and you listen to this? Ask your manager or agent, hey man, why can't we get more money? I would love an explanation of why you can't. Now, if you say it's the market value, exactly. It's the market value. They've gone up $8 billion. And if they go, well, your pay from the last time you signed has gone up 10%. No, I get that, but that's 10% of 80 grand, so I'm making whatever, 88,000 now. They've gone up how many times? $8 more billion, and you're giving me a 10% raise? Or how about, see, this, it's good and bad this is coming to light, because also the UFC per fight for bonuses is $50,000. It used to be $100,000. They've gone lower, and they've made more. Everyone's cool with this? We're all okay with this? Yeah, you're not going to do shit. You ain't gonna do shit. You know that cold boat in your phone is terrible? We ain't doing shit. We all use iPhones. You ain't doing shit. Find out that cobalt fucking battery in your Tesla's horrible for people. It's slave labor. You ain't doing shit. You know the UFCs are getting paid pennies. The fighters are getting paid pennies. Now for WME, for William or for Endeavor, I mean, dude, they're just it's dicey. It gets dicey. I know I keep saying dicey this episode. Because it is. It gets dicey because the owners of the UFC, which is a legit sports organization, also owns the WWE, which, listen, it's hard work. I get it, but it's not real sports. It's just, but to blur those lines is already for the common fan who's not huge into the UFC and kind of knows about WWE, and you mix those, it makes the water even murky, you know? And here you have, Ronda Rousey's over there. You have Brock over there. Now, how much easier? You don't think Brock's going to fight John Jones after this deal? You don't think Brock Lesnar's going to mosey on over? And now Endeavor owns both of them. Easy deal to get done. Easy deal to get done. Also, Vince McMahon, shave your mustache. Shave it right now. Shave your mustache and do less TRT right now, sir. Go to him. He looks like Wario.
Is it that one right there?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
my gosh.
Look at that. That's me.
I didn't know that.
20 years. I'm slowly morphing into that. But my ears won't be that big because of my cauliflower. I'm slowly morphing into that. That's Broadway's live action Wario. If Super Mario's was on Broadway, that's Wario. That's who that is. Holler.
Yeah.
Same person.
Pretty much.
TRT'd up. Same person.
I didn't know he did that. So he's dyeing his hair and his.
I didn't know he did that either. Also, here's something else for you guys to chew on, silly bitches. How about this? How about this, dude? Think of the current climate we're in. You know me, I'm all against the cancel culture. I don't like any of that shit. But what's it tell you? If you're big enough, you're powerful enough, and good for them. They've earned every bit of it. And I'm not saying any action should be taken. I'm just saying, how weird is it that there's been people accused of way less who lost their careers, got fucked over. There's video of Dana assaulting his wife. There's endless accounts and witnesses, and the guy had to step down from his position as the chairman of WWE. There's tons of evidence, legit evidence. But then I have friends who've been canceled for way less. These men have gotten bigger. They've made more money. Endeavor owns Hollywood. So Hollywood wants to sit on their high horse and say, this guy can't perform here, or this guy can't be in this movie. But these two are okay. Fuck you. They've gotten bigger, dude. That's how weird Hollywood is. How strange is that? Yeah. Like legit, anybody else is royally fucked, eating cup of noodles every night, jacking off to The Undertaker if you're Vince McMahon and you're not Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying? If you look like Wario and you didn't have that power, you're jacking off to Mankind old reruns. Not him. He sold his company for whatever it was, $6 billion. And he's still going to be the face of it. Dana's gotten bigger. And I'm not saying they should do anything to these men. I don't know enough about it. What I'm saying is if you're going to keep that energy with certain people, keep it across the board. Don't be so wishy-washy because these guys have a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. It's very strange to me. That's Hollywood in a nutshell. What else you got, Chin? Vince, I know you're a huge fan of the show. Shave that mustache and stop dyeing your eyebrows, dude. Stop dyeing your eyebrows, especially you're worth whatever billions of dollars. You don't have to do that, man. There's not enough people around him to go, don't dye the eyebrows. The mustache, if you have to shave down, don't do that. Unless you're Michael Jordan, you can't do that, dude. You can't do that. He's like, I'm worth $5 billion. I'm like, you can do that.
So when Jose Aldo, I don't know if you know, he didn't win. It was a majority draw against him and Jeremy Stevens. Or Jeremy Stevens. And then since that bout happened, Conor McGregor tweeted, me and Aldo should box. And then, I don't know, we talked about it before. There's an article where
Aldo's
Jose was
all cool.
Yeah, cool with
he's
Conor.
a cool matchup, and we needed him, and I love him. That's my brother.
But after
now he's
this,
like, you son of a bitch.
he goes, asshole.
He's like, yeah, asshole. That's just him looking for a fight. Again, these are feeder leagues for those big boxing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all it is.
And then this is also what he said to Jeremy Cruz.
He only talks now because he has a fight booked and does so to sell anything, not to actually fight. He's a son of a bitch. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And then Conor McGregor replied with this.
Who pissing your acai?
Yeah.
Well, okay then. Whatever, lad. I was only trying to be nice. Who pissing your acai? That's funny.
And then he also tweeted this last thing here.
Me and who the fuck is that guy should box?
Which
Meaning
is Jeremy Stevens. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all this is. Feeders into that.
And then real quick to end this part.
I didn't get this. I saw this. Who is that chick?
That's Conor McGregor's mom. I guess this is a while ago. Conor McGregor's mom said hi to him, and they took a picture together. And he just put the picture in this post.
Did his mom ask for this pic?
That's what Jeremy Stevens says, but who knows what happened? I don't know.
Well, why would he ask for a pic with Conor's mom?
This is funny.
He's all,
this is a while ago.
It's hilarious picture,
Yeah.
though. Jeremy Stevens hilarious.
But he goes, yeah, your brittle bones ready to throw heat. Name the place and time. You can have the steroids because I know you got wobbly legs in the late rounds. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this one was kind of weird too. So this is Conor McGregor talking about Justin Gaethje because Justin Gaethje said
He'll retire if
Conor gets a title shot before
title
that.
shot, which is weird.
Yeah, and then so the Conor just replied with this.
That brain dead fool got a title shot off one single win and was versus Chandler. Yet he will quit and retire if I get the same thing. Classic Gaethje bird brain. Jackass 2 title attempt, no wins.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about Paddy Pimblett last week about him doing the surgery. He just finished the surgery and he's calling out Jared Gordon again to do a rematch. And then this is Jared Gordon's response.
Funny thing is, going in the fight, I had ankle injury as well.
Documented by
the UFC. I couldn't walk for weeks after our fight too. I get why he's angry. He knows I won, like the rest of the world. Yeah, so I wonder if Gordon even wants that fight.
He doesn't. He said he has bigger.
Yeah, I think they need to move on. Mm-hmm. But also, let's say they did make that fight for whatever reason. I don't think they should. Let's say they made that fight. Is that a main event in London?
No,
I don't think so, right?
Yeah, it's not a.
I don't see anyone vying for that fucking fight. Like, we have to see it again. I think they both need to move on.
But I remember some sort of MMA person said that this is smart by Paddy because, Gordon was not big, but it was a jump up in competition. And he realized he couldn't really beat him. So he's like, fight him again versus someone even higher now. Yeah. So that might be like a strategic thing with Paddy.
They need to slow down on him. He still needs to develop because his star powers outshine his experience and talent right now. So they need to. And hopefully that humbled him to get. And even though he's had surgery and stuff, hopefully he's working on his skills, which I'm sure he is. But yeah, there's a lot of guys where their star outshines their talent.
This is about 2 bout announcements for Bellator 297. It's Vadim Nemkov, who's a killer, versus Yoel Romero, and then Sergio Pettis versus Patricio Pitbull.
I have this
June
group
16.
chat with a bunch of guys you would know, and someone sent me this video. It shows Yoel Romero running. It says, why does Yoel look like he has rods in his? He runs so stiff, like he has rods in his neck or back. And like that's because he does, and he's literally like he can't. He's just running straight up.
He just seems so dense and
jacked.
Yeah.
Nemkov versus Romero is a great fight. I'll take Nemkov in that fight though.
Cool. And we haven't heard from your boy Brian Ortega in a while, but I guess he's responding to Ilia Topuria, who just beat Bryce Mitchell pretty badly not too long ago.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. Yeah, but also Brian doesn't want the fight. He said in this league you don't get to my level with your mouth. Like you got to win some fights. Exactly.
So you pretty much know this article. He was Topuria was calling up Ortega, but Ortega's like, first of all, he's injured. He's still recovering from his shoulder injury, so he can't fight anyways. And then he should get to the top position before calling out Ortega, but he definitely fought him if he was okay.
But
right
once
now.
they're on their way up to where I'm at, then you can come and join in. But you can't use your mouth to come up here, you know? This is the fighting world, can only do so much with the mouth. And this time is you're going to have to fight. I know he has a fight lined up. Good for him. And after, if he earns his way up, then let's do it. Yeah, that's the right way to do that.
And the fight lined up is Josh
Holy
Emmett.
shit.
Yeah, 5-round headliner.
God, dog.
So I think obviously if he beats Josh Emmett, then he's definitely in the
Yeah, then Brian Ortega's next, and then title shot. Jesus, they put him on the fast track. But boy, did he look good, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Fuck
looked really
sakes, He looked good. To Pereira and Josh Emmett. Fuck, man.
It's a great fight.
If I'm Emmett, I'm like, I guess I'll take that fight.
That sucks forever.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like, I guess I want that.
All right. So the PFL's senior vice president, Lauren Mack, said that Jake Paul will definitely have his first, or his only MMA fight in the organization by the end of this year.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Depends who he's going to fight, right? A big number for PFL. But to do what he's doing in boxing, like that takes all your attention and efforts. To go away from that and focus on MMA, depends what he wants to do. I think by him going over to MMA shows us that he knows that he's just going to take these money fights. His goal is not to be a world champion in boxing. You can't do both. You can't. He's already behind the ball. He's already behind the 8 ball in boxing. He lost to Tommy Fury. Now you're going to focus on MMA. So he's just doing these big payday fights. Good for him. It's exactly what he should be doing.
And one more on Jake Paul. So I guess one of his training partners for boxing was this guy, Marcus Perez, who was in the UFC for a little bit. And I guess he was supposed to be paid $300 to spar Jake Paul. And Jake Paul didn't pay him because he was being, I don't know, like a kind of a taunting kind of guy. And he was beating him up and all that stuff. But then eventually he never ended up paying him.
So I said, I think that's because the others were cool. They told me they went all right, not with me. My session ended in a fight. His cornerman wanted to enter the ring and get me. He started trying to punch the back of my head because I started taunting him. He got mad. He's not used to this. I started showboating, keeping my hands low. I dropped him with a body punch. He got mad. So I punched him in the nose and drew blood. He got desperate. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how true this is, but that's what he's claiming. But since
you never know either. Like, here's the other thing, trust me, this bullshit, it falls from the top. Jake Paul's probably not running his finances to paying sparring partners. It's probably one of his coaches. Has nothing to do. I bet Jake's like, yeah, pay the
just communication
guy.
issues.
I bet even now Jake's like, yeah, pay the fucking guy. I don't need this,
I won't play this clip because I wonder if we can. But it's basically Logan Paul saying that he'd want to fight Tyson Fury in MMA. Obviously, he said if you get punched, he'd be destroyed. But he's like, he could just take him down and destroy him on the ground.
Yeah, I don't like that for Logan. Don't get me wrong. The kid has more wrestling experience than Tyson, but you're talking about the greatest heavyweight to ever do it with great footwork and who's, the comments are right there. They said he wrestled in high school, acts like he's Bo Nickel or something. Yeah, I agree. The wrestling pedigree, I don't think is enough to beat Tyson Fury in any form of combat sports,
There you go. This is a quick, interesting one. So Benson Henderson, how he always puts toothpicks in his mouth, right? When he fights and everything. I guess there's one time that he actually swallowed the toothpick. He was trying to scare his mom.
Yeah.
Like coming down the stairs because he just graduated. He wanted to surprise her. And then he ended up swallowing the toothpick. And then it doesn't say what happened as far as like, he didn't go to the hospital or anything. I guess he just literally swallowed the toothpick and goes, I've had no complications since. So apparently he actually swallowed a toothpick.
but he's all right.
He's all right. And that I actually Googled what could happen. And apparently it could, pierce your
Cut up
organs.
some of the stuff,
And
yeah.
you can't digest the
Oh,
toothpick either.
So
So
probably past it.
maybe it just stuck somewhere, just was whatever. I don't know. Another quick one. So remember Bilal Muhammad met up with Dana White. Here's the picture of him. They said they had a great talk or whatever. Everything was good. This is after the whole Colby Covington conspiracy thing with, Leon Edwards. But now Bilal's saying that he's only interested in either Edwards, Kamaru Usman, or Covington next. What's up?
What about Schaub?
I know, that's what I'm saying. So even though the UFC wants it, even Dana White said it, he's going to do Shavkat next. He's saying he's only interested in Edwards, Usman, or Colby.
Well, Kobe's
and this is
fighting
after
Leon.
they met up with Dana White.
Well, Kobe's fighting Leon. We know that. Kamaru, who knows how long he has off. So I guess they'll wait for Kamaru. So Kamaru versus Muhammad.
Yeah, so I guess that.
I mean, to be fair, too, Muhammad deserves that 100%. I don't
Absolutely.
like the
Schaub
fight. No,
It's
up.
crazy.
He's past that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to fight this young lion coming up. Like, he's already earned his chops.
All right. Here's another real quick one. Dustin Poirier, he's going to be on the commentary team for UFC 287 on the desk as a desk analyst.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. Good for Dustin. I wonder who he's replacing.
I don't know.
Is it like he's replacing Dominic or They usually have Bisping on the desk up there if they're not working the fights.
Yeah, and sometimes Anthony Smith. Like there's
Anthony Smith or
it's Rashad sometimes too.
sometimes Rashad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen
That'd be
Bryant.
good.
This one I thought was trippy because the reason why I found this article because it was related to the UFC, but I guess there's this female pro wrestler. Her name is She-Hulk or something like that.
Standard.
She went to the UFC San Antonio, which was, Chito Vera and San Hagen. And then she was staying with one of her friends. And then apparently at 4 a.m., so she said, like, some guy's going to come pick me up. I'm going to go with him because he's going to introduce me to people from the UFC. And then she went
At 4
missing.
a.m.?
Yeah, it's super weird. She went missing for an entire week. Her friend was trying to get a hold of her.
Okay.
And then suddenly she was found a week later in downtown, somewhere in Austin, I think.
Okay.
By the police. And all it says is some guy had her phone and called her friend, said, like, I have your friend's phone. I took it from her. And literally that's the only thing that I could hear. She's returned home now. But that's the only thing on this
Did you say
story.
anything?
No.
So
Literally, that's it.
Did she meet with the UFC at 4 a.m.?
It didn't say shit. It's, other than her mom is happy that she's home now.
Jesus
but it's super
Christ.
weird.
God dang.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's intense, Jen.
What's up?
That's intense.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's all right. Jesus Christ. Wonder what they did. Oh, pay attention to the Thick Boy Instagram because they're doing a Q&A on there. So submit your questions for UFC 287 or whatever matchups you want to talk about. We'll air that on Thursday. I'll be answering your questions. Get them in by Wednesday, and it'll be on the Thick Boy Instagram.
I guess we'll just finish off on this one. I thought this was a joke. It's not going to happen.
I thought it was going to happen for sure.
Yeah. So Rampage Jackson and Bob Sapp, they did a fight circus. And I mean, if you watch the clip, and I'm not sure it's on Twitter, so I think we can, but if you watch this clip, you can tell they're just taking it easy. It's just like,
It's just tough to do head move and not hit your buddy. God, Rampage just rocking him with this fucking hook.
but I mean, Rampage could destroy these guys if
They're
he
being
wanted
cool.
to.
Who are these two?
I think they're like a radio team or something like that.
They're lucky Rampage and uppercut by Rampage. Bob Sapp barely touching him. Too.
Yeah. So it was kind of silly, but they actually went through with it.
Looks like they had fun though.
Fight circus, yeah. All right, that's pretty much it.
All right, kids. Well, that's it here. You got my picks for UFC 287. Enjoy the fight card. Come watch it with me, Brian Callen, Chito Vera, and a very special guest live 7 p.m. Thick Boy YouTube, Calabasas Fight Campaign for UFC 287. On the docket for tour-wise, next week I'm in Atlanta. That's Atlanta, Georgia at the Punchline, April 13th through the 15th, Atlanta, Georgia. And then June 2nd through the 4th, La Jolla Comedy Store. That's right outside San Diego. So that's June 2nd through the 4th, the Comedy Store in La Jolla. And then after that, I'm off to Europe. Belfast, Glasgow, Manchester, London, Cardiff, Dublin is June 25th. So come get you some Europe. All right. Tickets at thickboy.com. Tiger Thick Whiskey across the board, $59.99. Get at thickboy.com. That's it, kids. Tune into the Calabasas Fight Companion this Saturday, UFC 287. Come watch it with me at the Fight Companion with Chito Vera, Brian Callen, very special guest, which I'll announce on Thursday, and myself will be there live for UFC 287 on Thick Boy YouTube. All right, love you guys. Be nice to each other. Atlanta, see you next week. I'm out.
If you're into Thick Boys, like, subscribe, comment, and God bless America. Well, that's not my big one. Just kidding.